Good morning, everyone. In this video, we will be continuing the play, A Doll's House. Doll's House, as you all know, was a play by Henrik Ibsen, and it caused a lot of controversy when it was first produced. It was a feminist play, though Henrik Ibsen always said that it is not a feminist play, but we can all see that the very sensitive issues are raised in this play. To continue the play, we will begin with the dialogue of Nora, that is where we left the play in the previous video. Nora: of course, besides, I was the one responsible for it. Whenever Troald had given me money for new dresses and such things, I have never spent more than half of it. I have always bought the simplest and cheapest things. Thank heavens, any clothes look well on me. And Troald has never noticed it. But it was very hard on me, Christine, because it is delightful to be really well dressed, isn't it? Mrs. Linde: quite so. Nora: well, then I have found other ways of earning money. Last winter, I was lucky enough to get a lot of copying to do, so I locked myself up and sat writing every evening until quite late at night. Many a time I was desperately tired, but all the same it was a tremendous pleasure to sit there working and earning. It was like being a man. Please notice this dialogue. It was like being a man. Earning money was supposed to be a prerogative or a work which was done only by men. And when Nora earns money, she feels she is like a man. Mrs. Linde: how much have you been able to pay off in that way? Nora: I can't tell you exactly. You see, it is difficult to keep an account of a business matter of that kind. I only know that I have paid every penny that I could scrape together. Many a time I was at my wits' end. Smiles. Then I used to sit here and imagine that a rich old gentleman had fallen in love with me. Mrs. Linde: what? Who was it? Nora: be quiet. That he had died, and that when his will was opened, it contained written in big letters the instruction: the lovely Mrs. Nora Helmer is to have all I possess paid over to her at once in cash. Mrs. Linde: but my dear Nora, who could that man be? Nora: good gracious, can't you understand? There was no gentleman at all. It was only something that I used to sit here and imagine when I couldn't think of any way of procuring money. Getting money. But it's all the same now. The tiresome old person can stay where he is. As far as I am concerned, I don't care about him or his will either. For I am free from care now. Jumps up. My goodness, it's delightful to think of, Christine. Free from care, to be able to be free from care, quite free from care, to be able to play and romp with the children, to be able to keep the house beautiful and have everything just as Troald likes it. And think of it, soon the spring will come and the big blue sky. Perhaps we shall be able to take a little trip. Perhaps I shall see the sea again. Oh, it's a wonderful thing to be alive and be happy. A bell is heard in the hall. Mrs. Linde: rising. There is the bell. Perhaps I had better go. Nora: no, don't go. No one will come in here. It is sure to be for Troald. Servant at the door: excuse me, ma'am, there is a gentleman to see the master, as the doctor is with him. Nora: who is it? Krogstad at the door: it is I, Mrs. Helmer. Mrs. Linde starts, trembles, and turns to the window. Trembles, Kampna, turns to the window. This action shows that Mrs. Linde recognizes Krogstad and they have had to do something with each other in the past, which will soon be revealed in the play as we read it. Nora takes a step towards him and speaks in a strained, low voice. You? What is it? What do you want to see my husband about? Krogstad, bank business. In a way, I have a small post in the bank and I hear your husband is to be our chief now. Nora. Then it is Krogstad. Nothing but dry business matters, Mrs. Helmer. Absolutely nothing else. Nora. Be so good as to go into the study then. She bows indifferently to him and shuts the door into the hall, then comes back and makes up the fire in the stove. Mrs. Linde. Nora. Who was that man? Nora. A lawyer of the name of Krogstad. Mrs. Linde. Then it was really he? Nora. Do you know the man? Mrs. Linde. I used to, many years ago. At one time he was a solicitor's clerk in our town. Yes, he was. Mrs. Linde. He is greatly altered, changed, that is. Nora. He has made a very unhappy marriage. Mrs. Linde. He is a widower now, isn't he? Nora. With several children. There now, it is burning up. Shuts the door of the stove and moves the rocking chair aside. Mrs. Linde. They say he carries on various kinds of business. Nora. Really? Perhaps he does. I don't know anything about it. But don't let us think of business. It is so tiresome. Dr. Rank comes out of Helmer's study. Before he shuts the door, he calls to him. No, my dear fellow, I won't disturb you. I would rather go in to your wife for a little while. Shuts the door and sees Mrs. Linde. I beg your pardon. I am afraid I am disturbing you too. Nora. No, not at all. Introducing him. Dr. Rank. Mrs. Linde. Dr. Rank. I have often heard Mrs. Linde's name mentioned here. I think I passed you on the stairs when I arrived, Mrs. Linde. Mrs. Linde. Yes, I go up very slowly. I can't manage stairs well. Rank. Some slight internal weakness? Mrs. Linde. No, the fact is, I've been overworking myself. Dr. Rank. Nothing more than that? Then I suppose you have come to town to amuse yourself with your entertainments? Mrs. Linde. I have come to look for work. Rank. Is that a good cure for overwork? Mrs. Linde. One must live, Dr. Rank. Dr. Rank. Yes, the general opinion seems to be that it is necessary. Nora. Look here, Dr. Rank. You know you want to live. Rank. Certainly. However wretched I may feel, I want to prolong the agony as long as possible. As long as possible. All my patients are like that, and so are those who are morally deceased. One of them as a bad case too, and a bad case too, is at this very moment with Helma. Mrs. Linde. Nora, whom do you mean? Rank. A lawyer of the name of Krogstad, a fellow you don't know at all. He suffers from a deceased moral character, Mrs. Helmer, but even he began talking of it being highly important that he should live. Nora. Did he? What did he want to speak to Torvald about? Rank. I have no idea. I only heard that it was something about the bank. I didn't know. Nora. I didn't know this, but what's his name? Krogstad? Had anything to do with the bank? Rank. Yes, he has some sort of appointment there. To Mrs. Linde. I don't know whether you find also in your part of the world that there are certain people who go zealously snuffing about to smell out moral corruption, and as soon as they have found some, put the person concerned into the same lucrative position where they can keep their eye on him. Healthy natures are left out in the cold. Mrs. Linde. Still, I think the sick are those who most need taking care of. We'll stop the video here. We'll continue the play in the next one. Thank you till then.